The weather is getting better and there's too much disappointment in games right now, so I'm going to focus on my car for now. Hey, what's up everyone? Happy Dude here. Thank you for watching and I hope you're having a nice day. Now, if you're a car guy, then it's very exciting to know just how much horsepower and torque your engine is developing. Now, sadly, my Audi S3 only developed about 290 horsepower, so a few horses have escaped my engine, and now I'm going to try and bring them back. Now sometimes my engine stutters a little bit, so I'm going to clean it with seafoam. I heard a lot of good things about it, so let's give that a try. You get 2 bottles, one for spraying into the intake and one for in the fuel tank. Now unfortunately my throttle body is located right here and it's upside down, so the seafoam would never reach the engine. But if you remove the muff sensor, you can spray it in right here. It was pretty boring to film, so I left it out, but after that I did a test drive and I have to say that the car was shaking quite a bit. And now all that carbon buildup will be collected inside the engine oil, so now it's time to do an oil change. Okay, we just open this cap so we don't pull a vacuum. And next up is the oil filter, and that is located right here. Okay, I got it. Blub blub blub. And here it is. And then we just pull the old oil filter out. It's a bit slippery, of course, because it's covered in oil. Here's the new one. Alright, let's put it in.
That's what she said!
There's no wrong way, it's all the same. And don't forget to replace the rubber O-ring on the oil filter housing. And then we just screw it back onto the housing. Now 25 Newton meters isn't that much, so just hold your hand as close as you get to here and then just turn until you feel yeah, like that. Now I can't turn anymore, and then just 5 more taps. And that's enough. Now before we put the oil into the engine, do not forget to put the oil plug back in at the bottom. I just ordered a new one just for safety. It's not that expensive. You have to put it exactly straight onto the pan, otherwise it's not going in. And now it's time to put the new oil in. I went for Castrol Edge 5W30LL. That's long life. It's a pretty small hole, as you can see, so do not overrush this. Take your time.
That's what she said! Michael!
Alright, let's put the dipstick in and see how far we are. You always have to be between minimum and maximum. It's always better to be a little bit under the maximum.
And while it's running for a few seconds, we can check for leaks on the oil filter and at the bottom. And it looks okay, so we can turn it off. Alright, we are done with the oil change. And oh, where did the sun go? It's already dark.
And now it's time to change the air filter. There are 8 screws around this box.
And you don't have to be scared to lose these screws because they're in the plastic itself. And here's the old air filter. And here's the old one. Ew, that's a lot dirtier than I thought. And here's a new one for comparison. Wow, that's a lot of difference.
Now I have noticed that there is a lot of restriction inside this airbox. So I decided to just break off those little plastics and see if it gets me any improvement at all. And it's very easy to just break them off. You don't need any tools. Now I was thinking of leaving it like this, but I decided to just remove all those plastic sticks.
And now that everything is open inside here and here, we can pull a lot more air to the turbo.
Okay, the air filter is now done. The injectors are also cleaned by the seafoam, so the next item on the list are the spark plugs.
So coming from a BMW, I was really stunned how to take off these spark plug connectors. So you can't just disconnect one of the connectors, you have to disconnect all of them. But be very careful because these plastic clips are very fragile and there is a chance you are going to break one. I already broke 2 of them. And that's because I couldn't find a decent video on YouTube, so I decided to make one myself. Okay, let me show you how that works. So pull on the plug and then push on here. Okay, now that one is loose. Now we can go to the other one. So this one has a broken clip. If that happens, put your screwdriver between here and then you can pull it out. If you can't pull it out, you will need a second screwdriver to push it off. So this one is now loose and then we can go to the other one. Okay, all the connectors are now loose, but still it's very hard to take them off because they are pulling on this thick cable here. So to make it easier, you also have to loosen up these ignition coils. To remove this double nut, I tried to put a wrench in there, but I couldn't get it between there. So take a screwdriver, put it against the cable here, so when you turn the nut it doesn't break off. And then we can take out this bolt. And now we can pull out the ignition coil.
I love that sound. I want to hear it again.
To remove the spark plug, you will need a 14mm tool like this with a magnet in it or a rubber to catch the spark plug.
Sorry, but I can't find the footage of changing these spark plugs. But anyway, this is a sign of carbonation and also oil consumption, so that's not good. But these engines are notorious for oil consumption. And you can also see that my coolant is a bit low. They are also known for that. Usually it's a leak on the EGR valve.
Now if you're going to change or add coolant, make sure you use the correct one. This is the one for the Audi S3 or Golf GTI or Golf Type R.
Next on the list is the DSG gearbox oil, also something very important. You do need a special tool to put the oil back into the gearbox and also a diagnostic tool to run it through all its gears while it's on the bridge. It's very important to do that, so I let a professional do it. You know what's also very important when you're going to add power? Brakes, so let's replace them. I was getting an error message on the screen, so I needed to do it anyway.
First I turn the bolts a quarter before I jack up the car. Okay, and now we can jack up the car. And don't use a cheap jack. Your legs are a lot more valuable than $25. Then when the wheel is off, we put a 17mm on this nut right here and a 13mm socket onto this one. It's already loose to save some time. And then there's another one here at the bottom. And then we can take the brake caliper off. And depending how well maintained your car is, this can go easy or very hard. Okay, and then don't let it hang on the cable, but take something to hang it up onto this spring or something, or some good old-fashioned zip ties. And then we can take the brake pads out. There are two, one on each side. And the discs themselves, they still look fine to me. They have a little edge of about 1.5mm. That's still fine. Now the brake pads, they were almost gone, so it really was time to replace them. And here are the new brake pads. And don't cheap out on your brakes, just take a good brand like Brembo. And this is the difference with the old one. Oh, this one has a sensor. I believe that's on the passenger side. There's no sensor here, I believe. So as you can see, that's a very big difference. Oh, and don't forget to push the caliper back in because the new brake pads are a lot thicker. And if you're strong like me, you can do it by hand. Okay, on this car, it takes a lot more force than I'm used to. So remove one brake caliper and put one here. And then you can fit it between and then pull as hard as you can towards this way to push the caliper in. I don't have a fancy tool to push that in, so this is how I need to do it. And we're done. Everything is tightened. It's only 2 bolts. And now we put the wheel back on and do the same on the other side. And now we are going to change the brake fluid. And it's very easy to do alone if you have a pump like this. All you need to do is fill it up with some brake fluid .4. And then we close it off very tightly. And then we start pumping until we get about just over 1 bar of pressure. Okay, that should be enough. And then we replace the cap with this cap with a little nipple on it. And then we connect the pressure valve. Okay, no leaks. And then on the brake caliper we remove this little dust cap. Then we put a wrench on it. For me it's 11 millimeters. And then we connect this little bottle on there to catch all the old fluid. And now we can open up the valve and see if it's going to work. Yeah, it's working. With the right tools, it's fun to work on a car, and always make sure you have enough fluid in the pump here, and make sure it doesn't drop below 1 bar of pressure. And when the color changes to clear, then we can close the valve again. Okay, that should be enough, and now we can close it up. Just finger tight is enough. It doesn't need to support an elephant. And then we put the rubber cap back on. Where's the nipple? I'm always having trouble finding nipples. Okay, and that's it. Okay, the wheel is back on and the bolts are in and slightly tightened, and now we can lower the car gently. And then we can tighten the bolts at 125 Newton meters. And we do it crisscross.
Okay, the car has gotten a full service, so in the next video we are going to see how much horsepower it's producing, and we're going to add a few more.